Carmela's role complicates the picture. She was warned early on to take the kids and leave, yet she clung to her Cayenne, diamond rings, and the leverage Tony provided with zoning officials. Greed, comfort, fear, pick a reason. She loved him too, in her way. Not the thug, but the fragments of decency he occasionally revealed.
We're right here with you, Tony. Who am I? Who am I?
Get rid of me too, then. Sir.
Even in the hospital, when Tony hovered near death, her anger melted into confession. He was flawed, but she loved him deeply.
But I still love him.
The kids are safe in their beds. They love you.
This duality defined her, devotion and disgust, woven into the same fabric. Walking away would have meant admitting her entire adult life was a fraud. Besides, she was never entirely sure what Tony would do if she dared. Had Tony lived past Holston's, Carmela's future wasn't bright either.
When you had that RICO trial, what did that run you?
A lot.
Where you go?
A drawn-out RICO trial would have bled her dry, forced her to downsize from suburban royalty to barely hanging on.
He sold a house.
They don't people have names anymore. Who's he?
Anthony.
The house could be sold, the wardrobe pawned, and Vic, the contractor, would be waiting with fresh sheets.
Let go of me. Your son will be home. Do you want him to see his father like this?
In many ways, his death spared her from the indignities of being the wife of a lifer.
Well, I told you, she's taking pre-med class. Well, she's not going to be a doctor.
And then there are the children. Meadow, perpetually paralyzed between ideals and indulgence, blamed Tony for her failure to become a doctor.
Anthony Jr., you get up!
AJ descended into uselessness, a psychologically broken man-child with no path forward.
And everything I've done and everything I will do, it's all for you and your brother, you know that.
Tony's constant refrain that providing materially was taking care of yous collapsed under the weight of what his children had become, dependent, hollow, and directionless.
We had a lot of wonderful times as a family.
His reign built nothing but wreckage, and in those final moments, he was forced to look directly at it. The question of whether members-only man pulled the trigger matters less than the inevitability that hung over Tony's life.
Two endings for a guy like me. High-profile guy. Dead or in a can.
He himself admitted there were only two endings, death or prison. If it wasn't the gun that night, it would be the gavel the next year. Chase's genius lay in denying the audience closure. The sudden cut to black wasn't just Tony's perspective. It was ours, a mirror of his suspended existence. Death? Prison? It hardly mattered anymore. What mattered was the trap had finally sprung. Still, defenders of the he squeaks by theory argue that mob bosses live perpetually in trouble, and Tony's fate was just another crisis in a lifetime of close calls.
Various legal strategies to squeeze my business. Guys today have no room for the penal experience, so everybody turns government witness.
They imagine him lawyering up, dragging trials into eternity, maybe even cutting deals to buy time. But reality is less forgiving. For every close call in mob folklore, there are dozens of lifers rotting in federal facilities. The odds were against him, and even Tony's cagey intelligence could not outmaneuver mathematics. Some cling to fantasy. Tony beats the case, abandons crime, and morphs into a suburban football coach. Others dream of him flipping and starting fresh under witness protection. But all these scenarios require ignoring the erosion already rotting his empire. His crew was decimated, Christopher and Bobby dead, Sil comatose, Polly disgusted, and Carlo vanished into federal custody. Uncle Junior was a drooling husk, Johnny Sack gone.
Now, what are you talking about?
And New York had no interest in tolerating Tony's presence. He was left with Walden and Benny, the dregs of an already diminished bench. The boss had no kingdom left to rule. Even therapy, his one reprieve, had abandoned him.
We're making progress in 7 years.
Do you want some names?
Melfi, finally shamed into realizing she was enabling a sociopath, cut him loose. No more confessions, no more panic attack lifelines. Just the weight of his crimes pressing in without outlet.
Probably was a panic attack.
His anxiety, the central motor of the series, had finally reached the point of collapse.
FBI, open up!
Prison would have stripped him of the one thing he clung to, dignity. Junior and Johnny Sack showed us what happens to once powerful bosses when the state devours them, reduced to jokes, sobbing, ostracized, dying alone. For Tony, whose identity was built entirely on dominance and fear, such a decline was a fate worse than execution. Chase denied him, and us, the cheap catharsis of watching it play out.
You probably don't even hear it when it happens, right?
There's your friend in there, on the wall.
Instead, he gave Tony exactly what he feared most: a sudden stop. No dignity, no farewell, no meaning, just blackness.
It's good to be in something from the ground floor. I came too late for that.
The final brilliance lies in its universality. The life Tony chose was never sustainable. Every mobster imagines himself the exception, the one who escapes the RICO net, who keeps family intact, who earns respect until the grave. Yet the reality is always the same: prison, betrayal, or a bullet.
Things have a momentum of their own.
The only variable is timing. By the end, Tony knew it. That last glance at his family in Holston's is less triumphant than tragic.
Everything I do.
He had sacrificed everything to take care of yous, and all he was left with were a traumatized son, a disillusioned daughter, and a wife who loved him in spite of herself. So yes, Chase was merciful.
Shit, the government has resources up the ass.
He spared us the drawn-out humiliation of Tony rotting away in federal custody.
And she took his prison job no matter what.
He spared Tony the erosion of identity that prison guarantees. He gave him what the character, and perhaps the audience, deserved: abrupt annihilation. The only honest ending for a man who built his empire on denial. The great irony, of course, is that nearly 2 decades later, people are still arguing about it.
It's just a matter of time before God compensates me with outrage for my sins.
As though ambiguity changes inevitability. Whether Tony's heart stopped in that booth or 10 years later in a cell, the truth remains unchanged. He was already dead. Tony's fate was inevitable. But you choosing to subscribe? That's entirely in your hands.